Beginning in the early 1990s, a mysterious phone number began appearing on billboards and in newspaper advertisements across North America. The vanity number spelled out 1-800-GOLF-TIP. At first glance, most people assumed it was a standard helpline for golf advice. However, the reality of the hotline was much stranger. When someone dialed the number, they were greeted by the sound of heavy breathing into a microphone. This was immediately followed by a voice with an Indian or Middle Eastern accent, counting from 1 to 10 repeatedly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This bizarre sequence would loop for minutes on end, leaving many callers confused and prompting them to hang up, but the counting did not last forever. Those who stayed on the line discovered that after about 10 to 12 minutes, the voice faded into silence, replaced by static noise. Eventually, listeners were startled by the sound of a loud and unsettling siren. Not only was the broadcast extremely creepy, but it also left listeners with several unanswered questions about the purpose of the counting and why anyone would pay to advertise the number. Over the next few years, the 1-800-GOLF-TIP number became a modern urban legend. People heard about it through word of mouth, dialed it out of curiosity, and were all met with the same eerie voice. Mentions of the number date back as far as 2003, making it one of the earliest internet rabbit holes. The complete lack of information gave rise to a flood of theories. One popular theory speculated that the number was connected to number stations, shortwave radio broadcasts of unknown origin that transmit sequences of spoken numbers, tones, or coded messages. Many believe these broadcasts are used by governments to send encrypted instructions to spies, and some theorize the golf hotline served a similar purpose. Another theory suggested the number was a marketing campaign designed to gather working phone numbers for telemarketing, or a social experiment to generate hype for an upcoming product. However, neither theory held up to scrutiny. If number stations were used to transmit instructions to spies, their purpose was to deliver messages anonymously without leaving a trace. That purpose would be defeated if the recipient had to call a phone number that could be traced back to them. Likewise, the marketing theories lacked credibility because there were far more effective ways to collect data without relying on the unlikely chance of a mysterious number spreading through word of mouth. Despite many attempts to uncover the truth, the number remained a mystery for nearly 3 decades. That changed when a Reddit user began investigating the phenomenon, spending more than 4 years combing through leads and gathering personal anecdotes from people who remembered calling the number during their childhood. As it turned out, the mystery was not a viral hoax or a disturbing conspiracy, but the result of a simple mistake. Back in 1994, the Professional Golfers Association, PGA, was touring across North America. To promote the sport, the organization set up billboards and purchased newspaper advertisements listing its golf tip hotline. However, the line was only intended to remain active for 2 days. A 1994 advertisement in the Tampa Tribune stated that golfers nationwide could receive tips via a toll-free instruction hotline presented by the PGA of America and USA Today. The hotline was offered in conjunction with the Tommy Armour PGA Teaching and Coaching Summit in New Orleans. After the promotional campaign ended, some billboards in low-traffic areas were never updated and remained standing far longer than intended. By that time, the golf tip hotline had been replaced with a placeholder test message from the phone company. As for the disturbing siren at the end of the recording, it was simply one of many pre-recorded tones used by phone companies to indicate that a call had not reached its intended destination. In the end, the number was just the byproduct of a phone company forgetting to disconnect a test line, finally bringing closure to a mystery that had fascinated callers for 30 years. Near the end of 2017, several users on 4chan noticed a bizarre anomaly within Google Translate. When incoherent and broken strings of characters were typed into the system, it generated eerily coherent and sometimes disturbing responses. For instance, typing the letter O and P repeatedly resulted in Google Translate instructing the user to click on an image to view more. Similarly, using P and S instead produced text that resembled a snippet from an email. At first, it would have been easy to write the phenomenon off as a coincidence, random characters accidentally forming familiar words. But as more people tested the system, the outputs became weirdly consistent. In some cases, the Translate app would tell users to go ahead and ask any questions they might have. In more unsettling instances, it warned users that they had a chronic disease, a tendency to be infected with a virus, and that they would experience a lot of pain. At the time, the most reasonable explanation was that this was a glitch, possibly an obscure bug in Google's translation algorithm. Most of these eerie translations occurred specifically when converting between Somali and English, suggesting a flaw in how the system handled that specific language pair. However, what made this theory seem unlikely to some was the sheer amount of unique, specific information the system was outputting, including links to Facebook posts or what appeared to be actual email addresses. Google never officially acknowledged the problem, leaving users to speculate. Although some far-fetched theories suggested that Google Translate had become a sentient AI trying to communicate, these ideas were quickly dismissed. Another theory proposed that the outputs were the work of a rogue Google employee who had tampered with the system out of boredom or frustration, leaving behind hidden Easter eggs. However, the idea of an employee risking a lucrative career for such a niche prank seemed highly unlikely. The most plausible explanation remains that the phenomenon was an overlooked bug. As for the oddly specific bits of information, they likely came from internal sources. Because massive platforms like Gmail, Google Drive, and Google Search process billions of data points daily, it is possible that a coding error caused the translation tool to inadvertently pull fragments from those interconnected services. If true, this would have represented a significant privacy concern. However, whatever was causing the bizarre outputs appears to have been quietly patched by Google shortly after the story gained attention, and the troubling prompts can no longer be replicated. A 2016 short horror comedy film from Adult Swim, directed by Alan Resnick. It is not a real CCTV case. It is a fictional, found-footage, analog horror short made to look like surveillance camera recordings from inside a normal suburban home. The story is shown through security cameras installed by a fake company called AB Surveillance Solutions, and it follows a family during a child's birthday party while something disturbing happens inside the house.
That's much too expensive.
No, it's not that expensive. Orlando's expensive. All the hotels and all the...
In the footage, an unsettling situation immediately unfolds as a young woman named Madison is seen lying face down on the kitchen floor. Strangely, her parents, Tom and Ann, go about their business and ignore her completely. Through various security camera angles, a repairman is also seen working in the basement, while the son, Jackson, watches television in a living room decorated for his birthday. It is eventually revealed that Madison had an argument with her mother 2 hours earlier and had been lying on the floor in anger ever since. After a few minutes, Tom finally attempts to pick his daughter up, only to make a disturbing discovery.
It is time.
What? Prime links. That is disgusting.
Madison appears to be entirely stuck to the floor. The situation quickly escalates from strange to horrific as she begins physically sinking through the kitchen tiles. The repairman attempts to intervene by placing a wooden plank under her face to stop her from slipping further, but the effort fails. This results in Tom having a complete emotional breakdown in the basement as the situation deteriorates.
I'm ready for it, are you? I'm ready for anything. Beautiful. You've always been so beautiful.
You need to stop right now!
I praise you. I serve you.
Left with no other options, The family makes a desperate final attempt to save Madison by placing a mattress on the basement floor directly beneath where she is sinking. The footage eventually shows Madison falling onto the mattress, but the scene immediately cuts to a shot of the empty mattress, implying that she has fallen through the basement floor as well. The short film ends with the guests who had gathered for Jackson's birthday party lying face down in the yard, exactly like Madison, while Tom and Ann panic inside the house. The video carries a heavy, prevalent theme of extreme neglect. Madison is left lying on the floor for 2 hours before her parents address her directly. Jackson is entirely ignored by his parents. The family dog's bowl is empty, and when Tom hands the baby to the grandmother, she immediately sets the infant down on the floor, resulting in the baby crawling out the front door unseen. As many viewers noted, the title, "This House Has People in It," seems to imply that the building is merely a house containing individuals rather than a home containing a connected family. However, the short film was only a small piece of a much larger puzzle. The video was originally released alongside a now defunct website called abservolutions.com. Visiting the site unlocked a fully functional alternate reality game, ARG, which contained hours of additional security footage, dozens of hidden images, and detailed chat logs between the family members. Through this extended media, viewers uncovered additional narrative layers, including a storyline about a mysterious, fictional disease slowly spreading throughout the world of the film. The lore is so extensive that years after its release, users still debate whether every hidden secret has been found. On August 8, 2014, a YouTube user named Simon Purjay uploaded a video titled "Grave Robbing for Morons." The upload was a digital transfer of an extremely old, chilling VHS tape. In the video, a young man goes into disturbing detail, providing a step-by-step tutorial on how to rob graves and sell human remains on the black market.
Open them up, all right? Do not grab it here, all right? Don't grab it by the teeth like that, all right? You grab it by the eyes or the nose. You pull it out, put your finger all the way in. There is nothing there that will hurt you.
What makes the video deeply unsettling is not just the gruesome content, but the enduring mystery surrounding it. To this day, the identity of the man in the video remains completely unknown, and no one has ever come forward to claim responsibility. This lack of context has left internet communities divided into two opposing camps: those who believe it is authentic footage of a real grave robber, and those who argue it is an obscure, low-budget horror short created purely for shock value. Evidence exists to support both theories. What is certain, however, is that the original footage is decades old. The earliest known online mention of grave robbing for morons traces back to April 2003 on a now-defunct online store for horror VHS tapes called Shocking Videos. The site's listing described it as genuine camcorder footage of a drunken teenage stutterer giving a half-hour lecture on how to steal body parts, while holding a fresh, rotting skull. Based on visual clues, the video was likely filmed in the late 1980s. A VHS box for the 1987 film Evil Dead 2 is clearly visible, and an issue of Horror FX magazine can be seen in the background. That specific magazine cover belonged to a unique Fangoria edition released in July 1989. The presence of horror memorabilia suggests the creator may have simply been a dedicated horror fan attempting to make a creepy, found footage-style video. While some of the macabre advice given in the video feels disturbingly authentic, such as specific methods for removing a skull from an undecomposed body, other sections seem entirely absurd. At one point, the host casually suggests that if a grave robber encounters witnesses, they should simply knock them out, so the witnesses will assume the event was a dream. This bizarre logic supports the theory that the subject had no actual grave robbing experience and was fabricating the tutorial. Conversely, some viewers argue that the skull shown in the video is far too anatomically detailed to be a cheap prop, and that any inconsistency in his advice could be attributed to a novice criminal attempting to sound more experienced than he actually was. The mystery deepens toward the end of the tape, when the subject almost reveals his full name, mumbling, "Okay, this was made by Anthony." Well, as a matter of fact, let's forget the last name. In 1999, a man named Anthony Casamassima was arrested in New York for stealing an expensive stained glass window from a cemetery. This led to speculation that he was the creator of the tape. However, inconsistencies cast doubt on this theory. There appear to be no records of Casamassima desecrating bodies, as his crimes focused on valuable cemetery artifacts. Furthermore, Casamassima was 40 years old at the time of his arrest. If he had filmed the tape in 1989, he would have been around 30, which conflicts with the distinctly youthful appearance of the teenager in the video. Other theories have similarly led to dead ends. Some speculated the man could be Craig A. Bradley, who was arrested in 1995 for stealing human remains from a cemetery in upstate New York. Bradley would have been around 24 when the video was shot, aligning with the subject's age and general appearance. However, Bradley did not possess the severe stutter that is heavily prominent in the original video. While some suggest the stutter was faked for the camera, many viewers find this unlikely. Stuttering is a specific, involuntary speech pattern that is notoriously difficult for amateur actors to mimic convincingly, leading many to believe the subject's speech impediment was genuine. Ultimately, it remains possible that the creator will eventually step forward, but for now, there is no definitive proof regarding the identity of the young man or the authenticity of the chilling tutorial. On March 20th, 2015, a YouTube channel named Lang Marine uploaded a brief video titled "Fresno LE Harassment Ford Crew Cab That Stalked Me in My Residence Numerous Times." The video showed a vehicle driving past a security camera twice within 3 minutes. The uploader was John Lang, a 51-year-old former Marine residing in Fresno, California. In the video's description, Lang provided the context for the footage. He claimed that because he had been highly critical online of how the Fresno police and fire departments utilized their budgets, local law enforcement was now stalking and harassing him in retaliation. The following day, Lang posted another video showing a man walking a dog past his house. The footage captured the man pausing outside Lang's home for a few seconds before continuing down the street. While the activity appeared entirely mundane, Lang claimed the man was a plainclothes police officer actively conditioning Lang's own dog, ensuring the animal would not attack when the police eventually broke into his house. Over the next 10 months, Lang continued uploading security footage of what he believed was coordinated surveillance. Videos featured individuals looking at his property and municipal vehicles pausing near his home. The most widely discussed piece of footage showed a mysterious black van stopping outside Lang's house. A passenger pointed a large camera at the building for about 30 seconds before the van sped away. Lang claimed the device was a high-tech thermal imaging sensor used to determine if he was inside the residence. By January 2016, Lang was convinced the Fresno Police Department was actively planning his assassination. On January 16th, he posted a video of a commercial cleaning van parked near his home, writing in the description, "If I turn up missing or dead tomorrow, remember this van." He claimed to have seen men sneak out of the vehicle and into the building. A few days later, firefighters responded to a blaze at Lang's address. Inside the burning home, they found John Lang deceased, having suffered multiple stab wounds. The tragic end to Lang's documentation sparked a massive internet conspiracy. Initial news reports suggested that Lang had suffered stab wounds to his upper back, a detail that, if true, would have heavily validated his fears of assassination and cast immense suspicion on the Fresno Police Department. However, when the county coroner released the official autopsy report, it concluded that Lang's death was a suicide, citing 3 self-inflicted stab wounds to his chest and making no mention of wounds to his back. This glaring inconsistency led to severe public backlash and petitions demanding the case be reopened, but it remains officially closed. The true nature of John Lang's death continues to be debated. According to online discussions, The Fresno Police Department has a history of controversies and corruption allegations, leading some users to believe the harassment campaign may have been entirely real. However, a more grounded explanation suggests that Lang was suffering from severe, escalating paranoia. Reviewing the uploaded footage objectively, the man walking his dog appeared to be doing exactly that, and the idea that a dog could be conditioned in mere seconds is highly improbable. Furthermore, the supposed thermal imaging sensor used by the men in the black van appeared to simply be a standard film camera mounted on a stabilizing gimbal, suggesting they were likely independent filmmakers shooting B-roll without city permits. The strongest evidence pointing toward a tragic mental health crisis lies in the events immediately preceding his death. Records indicate that Lang manually disabled the security cameras inside his home the day before the fire. The final frames of saved internal footage reportedly showed him sitting alone holding a kitchen knife. Additionally, when the fire department arrived to extinguish the blaze, they found that all entrances to the home had been heavily barricaded securely from the inside. Had an intruder murdered Lang, it would have been nearly impossible for them to escape the crime scene without disturbing the interior barricades. Despite these logistical realities, the eerie timeline of his predictions ensures the case remains a heavily discussed internet mystery.